Today on ANN, delegates re-elect a World Church president to another 5-year term.
After trouble with new electronic voting devices, delegates are electing church officials the old-fashioned way.
And how do you feed thousands of hungry delegates in a very short period of time? We'll show you how they do it here in San Antonio.
These stories and more coming up. This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church.
Our coverage of the 60th session of the World Church continues from San Antonio, Texas. From our view here in the press box of the Alamodome, it's been an eventful day.
Delegates elected to the top 3 positions of the World Church.
First in the news, Elder Ted Wilson, the sitting president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, was re-elected to a 5-year term. After a standing ovation, Pastor Wilson and his wife Nancy stood at the microphone to acknowledge the love and support from delegates from around the world.
It is with very quiet respect and humility that both of us stand here before you and before God, and we do accept this responsibility.
In his acceptance speech, Wilson said he had 3 goals for the next 5 years: to completely lift up Christ in all things, to be faithful to God's word, and to involve as many church members as possible in witnessing and evangelism.
Moments after President Wilson's election this afternoon, he met members of the press to answer questions about his plans for the future. Wilson told reporters he wanted to continue the initiatives started in the last 5 years. Those include revival and reformation, comprehensive healthcare ministry, and the mission to the cities. He took no credit for these, saying they were simply based on the Bible and the spirit of prophecy.
I believe that mission to the cities, comprehensive health ministry, these are not things we cooked up in some, back room somewhere and it's some general conference plan. These come directly out of Scripture and the spirit of prophecy. These are plans that need to continue until the Lord comes. I mean, cities aren't going to get smaller, they're going to get bigger.
In an interview with Adventist Review editor Bill Knott, Wilson said one of the greatest issues facing the church today is attempts by society to neutralize Scripture. That's why he's launching new initiatives like Believe His Prophets and United in Prayer to encourage members to study the Bible and inspired writings.
Wilson, who is 65, is no stranger to church leadership. Here's a quick look at his career highlights. Wilson has served as World Church President for the past 5 years since his election at the last World Church session in Atlanta. Previously, he has served as a World Church Vice President and a Division President. He also led the Review and Herald Publishing Association. He earned a doctorate in religious philosophy from New York University, and he's married to Nancy, a physical therapist. They have 3 adult daughters and are blessed with 8 grandchildren.
An update to our story yesterday about the use of new electronic voting devices. Engineers who introduced the new wireless technology experienced problems. They've been working to fix those issues, but after more practice votes this morning, delegates were told to vote by lifting up their yellow voting cards until further notice.
Last night, thousands here in the Dome watched as Elder Wilson presented his President's Report.
He compared the Adventist World Church with the children of Israel as they journeyed to the Promised Land. Wilson illustrated his remarks with a number of video clips that summarize his last 5 years in office. Here's a short montage of last night's program.
To go forward, trusting in the solid, unchanging Word of God to guide us on this important journey. To go forward in the humility of Jesus Christ, because the world needs to hear Christ's message from Christ-like people. You know, in the life of the church, many times we can face bitter experiences. In your own life, you've faced
difficult and bitter, challenging experiences. But when you allow God to work in your life, He can turn something bitter into something beautiful. There are many challenges involved with building churches in Cuba. But since 1994, hundreds of churches have been built, and many more have been refurbished. Let's go forward. Let's go home together in unity, and by God's grace, soon. Arise, shine, Jesus is coming.
Under Wilson's leadership, church membership has grown to almost 18.5 million.
G.T. Ng was officially re-elected today to serve the Seventh-day Adventist Church as its secretary. Ng was first elected to serve as secretary during the 2010 GC session. Before accepting the call to serve as secretary, Ng worked as an associate secretary for the World Church. Here he coordinated mission efforts for the church's Northern Asia Pacific, Southern Asia and Trans-European regions. The Singapore native has also served the church on many different levels as pastor, health educator, regional department director and dean of the Theological Seminary at the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies in the Philippines. Ng and his wife Ivy have 2 adult children, Jocelyn and Mervyn.
GC session delegates also filled the final position of the General Conference officers. Juan Prestal Poisson was named as the treasurer for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Prestal served the Adventist World Church as under-treasurer since 2007. Before working with the World Church, Prestal was the treasurer for the Adventist Church in North America.
GC delegates also re-elected Myron Eiseminga to serve the Seventh-day Adventist Church as its Undersecretary. Eiseminga began his service as Undersecretary in 2011. Eiseminga has also served in the church's Southern Asia Pacific and Egypt regions, as well as the Upper Columbia and Montana regions in North America.
While the Seventh-day Adventist Church has seen tremendous growth over the past 5 years, leaders are also concerned over loss of members in unreached parts of the world. That was the focus of the 2015 Secretary's Report, delivered today by G.T. Ng, Secretary of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Ng said, while this Adventist Church is considered one of the fastest-growing churches in the world, with its nearly 18.5 million members, the church also needs to examine why more than 3 million members left the church over the past 5 years. The Secretary said part of the reason for the stark figures is because of thorough membership audits that have been conducted since the previous GC session. Ng also encouraged all members to follow Jesus' command to reach all nations, but he challenged attendees to be inclusive of all people groups within those nations. He also encouraged all believers to take up the charge to be a part of the mission of the church.
During the 2015 Treasurer's Report, Robert Lemon, retiring treasurer for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, emphasized God's faithfulness to the church despite global economic fluctuations over the past years. Lemon shared how the church's annual tithe has increased 31% since 2009. In 2014, the church reported a total of $2.4 billion in tithe. Lemon also noted a substantial increase in giving for world mission offerings, especially in regions outside of North America. The increased giving has funded more mission projects around the world. The church was also able to allocate more money for projects geared for the 1040 window. This is a region of the world that covers part of Africa and Asia and that contains 60% of the world's population, where only 1% of its population is Christian. Lemon also noted that the church's headquarters has maintained its commitment to keep the growth of its staff to a minimum to ensure that proper resources are available in the world field.
Coming up after the break, we'll show you how filmmakers are using the latest digital technology to capture the World Session in 3D.
Church delegates take a moment to honor a distinguished guest, a senator from Jamaica. More in a moment.
I pray for my mom, dad, and my sister, and if anyone in my family is sick, I pray for them.
I pray for that everybody gets to go to heaven. my family members that are sick and poor. I think that's all.
Please pray at 7 in the morning and at 7 in the evening, 7 days a week.
Every hour spent watching TV may shorten the viewer's life by 21.8 minutes. New research published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked data from 100,000 Australians over the age of 25. They found that those who watch 6 hours a day can expect to live 4.8 years less than a person who does not watch TV, and concluded that watching too much TV is as dangerous as smoking or being overweight. That's a fact. But there's hope. You can extend your life expectancy by the push of a button, the TV remote button, that is. Consider alternative forms of relaxation and entertainment that reduce sedentary time and introduce more physical activity to your family's daily life. So don't wait. Turn off the TV and live a healthier and longer life.
I've hit rock bottom. I'm at my wit's end. I've been searching, looking for something more. Some people stop here. Some people don't get up. But I haven't given up hope yet. And I know it's going to take faith.
After his re-election, Elder Wilson attended a luncheon in honor of the President of the Senate of Jamaica. Senator Floyd Morris has overcome a disability to become one of the highest-ranking politicians in that Caribbean country. Julio Munoz has our report.
The Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Department hosted a luncheon in honor of the Honorable Floyd Morris, the President of the Senate of Jamaica, who is a Seventh-day Adventist and is visually impaired.
I developed glaucoma whilst I was at third form at high school, and some 6 years after developing glaucoma, that's in 1983, I got totally blind. I somehow managed to rally and get over that and press on with my life after that.
Several of the Adventist Church's leaders attended the event, including Pastor Ted Wilson, following his re-election as president. Pastor Wilson honored Senator Morris for his dedication and perseverance as he became the first blind member of the Senate when he was appointed in 1998. Senator Morris, who hosts a 2-hour weekly radio program that focuses on disabilities and societal issues, gave some advice to young people who face disabilities, just as he did.
I live by the philosophy, I live by the biblical mantra that, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And once you put Christ at the center of your life, there is absolutely nothing that you cannot accomplish. And that has been my driving force. And God has been leading, God has been directing, and that has contributed to the success. And I commend that to all young people.
Reporting for ANN, this is Julio Munoz.
Everett Brown, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica, says members are justly proud of Morris's leadership. Roughly 10% of the country's population is Adventist.
Delegates and visitors looking for a quick bite to eat don't have far to go. In the nearby convention centre is the world's largest vegetarian restaurant. But the challenge of feeding thousands within 1 hour is a bit like feeding the biblical 5,000. ANN's Deborah Anderson takes us there.
Food. It's a very important element to a happy and successful trip, and with tens of thousands of people from around the world with particular tastes converging in one place, just how do you ensure their culinary desires are satisfied? That's the responsibility of Jeanette Jump, Special Events Coordinator for the General Conference. She's responsible for the meal selection and the feeding of some 6,000 people every day, twice that number on Friday and Saturday. Those numbers don't intimidate her, however. As a matter of fact, she says, it's a piece of cake.
I've been doing annual council, which is all the countries just represented by the presidents, the treasurers, the VPs. And so I'm familiar. These are my family. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody's coming home, and you prepare, you choose their favorite foods, you try to accommodate everybody.
One thing you can count on at every meal, says Jump, is rice.
We have bought all the rice in Texas, including the states around Texas. They've been coming in semi-truckloads.
Is she worried about running out of food?
I talked to the chef this morning, and he said, continue selling, keep me posted, because they're out purchasing everything in Texas.
Daniel Gomez is the executive sous chef for the session. He says his team makes sure that the food is temperature appropriate.
Of course, we keep our hot food hot, cold food cold, but basically we want them to experience, the flavors, that hopefully, they taste all the love and effort that we're putting into everything. That's key.
And so if you're wondering if the food is good or not, today's menu: brown rice blend, ratatouille, iceberg lettuce with almonds and strawberries. And I have to tell you, yes, it is delicious. Happy eating.
Meal times begin around noon. For ANN Video, I'm Deborah Anderson.
All the meals are vegetarian with a vegan option. And we know you're wondering about the price. That would be $18 for all you can eat.
Communication officials handed out more than 200 media credentials to allow reporters and photographers to cover the session. Of course, many of those represent church-run outlets. As ANN's Jeff Williamson reports, the Adventist media are sharing and working closer than ever before.
In the past, Seventh-day Adventist media from around the world operated on their own. But since the last World Session, there has been an intentional effort to bring church-run media together to send a unified message to all of the faithful.
Integrated media is the trend in the world. As a church, we need to be integrated. We need to share resources. We need to collaborate. We need to work united.
Ana Lopez is from Peru. She and her communications team have embraced the concept of integrated media.
We come all the way from Brazil, which is where the Novo Tempo and Nuevo Tempo is located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. There's like 20 team people working right now to send all the good news to South America.
Media outlets such as the Hope Channel, Adventist Review, and Adventist World Radio are sharing information, content, and news with the General Conference communication team. This content is then distributed to media worldwide.
Well, the idea came from the Bible, but we are trying to put in practice because it's impossible to do our things by ourselves. So we need to collaborate and use all the resources to get one good and ideal point of communicating things.
Integrated media goes beyond just bringing multiple organizations together. It's also about translating content into multiple languages to be delivered on multiple platforms worldwide.
We have people for each one of these media. We have people for TV, we have people for the radio, specifically that they have their own programs from here, developing their own programs and sending them to live from here, from San Antonio.
Oh man, this is a big operation. You have radio, TV, print, internet, social network, web, press conferences, a number of activities all working together.
The ultimate goal is a unified message from a unified church. For ANN Video, I'm Jeff Williamson.
At the end of our newscast, we'll show how you can find our content online and on social media.
And now it's time for your daily GC Session Tech Tip. Today, Daryl Gungadoo shares how the Adventist World Radio booth creates 360-degree images.
Whoa, that was mind-blowing. You've got to experience this 360 way of telling stories, because instead of being restricted to only seeing a 16:9 image, you're able, as a user, as a viewer, to look all around you, and you really feel completely immersed in the story. And Adventist World Radio decided to use this technology to tell the story of AWR to the world. And if you're here at the General Conference session, come to the AWR booth and experience an Oculus ride for yourself. If you are not, however, you can go to the website right down here, 360.awr.org, and download the video for yourself and experience it on your phone. Now, the way we did this at AWR is we used a couple of GoPros put together. This is 7 GoPros tied together, and the image, once stitched, generates for us a 360 full immersive image. So we did some recordings in Myanmar, in Guam, and also at some undisclosed locations in the Middle East. And I really would love to invite you to come see those videos. Thank you.
Still to come, hundreds of ministries and organizations want you to visit them in the session's exhibit hall.
And if you can't make it to the World Session, you can still follow what those exhibitors are featuring on social media.
We'll be right back.
In high school, we had a recital one year. Teenage musicians, they were already pretty good at what they did. There was one musician, though, that struggled from the beginning. His fingers stumbled and they were all on top of each other. You could see his frustration building until at one point he just lifted both of his hands and dropped them, pounded on the keyboard. It's like we heard every note all at the same time. The music teacher joined the student on the stage. He said to him, "You know, sometimes we just need a do-over. We need to start fresh." One way of thinking about baptism is a fresh start. Baptism acknowledges where I am, but it announces where I'm going. It's a priority to live life with God, no matter where I've been, what I've done, what I've thought about doing. Baptism isn't to make us perfect. It's to announce a priority to live first with God. Even though that recital was long ago, I'll always remember because the teacher walked off the stage with the student and entered again and sat down beside him. The teacher said to the student, "Now start over, and I'll stay right here with you." And what we heard was simply beautiful.
In addition to attending worship services and reuniting with friends and family, visitors can also look forward to one of Session's biggest attractions, the exhibition hall. Noel Sibanda has more.
The 60th session of the World Seventh Adventist Church General Conference kicked off in San Antonio this week with more than 70,000 delegates. As is the tradition, this year saw more than 600 exhibitors displaying their wares, and what a show the exhibitors put. The quality of the displays was very high, and it embraced all cultures, showing that indeed our worldwide church is a very diverse and rainbow global village.
We're giving away all kinds of books, the books that people need to be proper disciples of Christ. This is the purpose of GC Department, is to help people to be disciples for Jesus.
We're looking for young people that are interested in doing work projects, and others that would like to help support our organization.
The visitors to the General Conference were equally impressed by the displays because there was everything for everyone. Both the young and the old could be seen pacing up and down, looking for something to please their eyes.
I take this to be an international trade fair where you get to see various departments of the church, supporting ministries and resources.
The children were not left out as there were so many play centers to keep them entertained.
There's lots of fun booths and they give out free books and stuff.
Education is a sure sign of empowering our people for a better life, and Andrews University displays was there to cater for all.
Christian education should be one of the main focuses that we talk about here at GC, because that's what's saving a lot of our youth.
One of the most fascinating sights at the exhibition was the Maasai man from Kenya who was volunteering in dishing out AIDS information.
We are trying to influence people to try and make all churches Seventh-day Adventists as senders of hope and to care for those people who are living with HIV and AIDS.
From the activities taking place so far, it's clear that business was good for most people.
Business is good. We are selling traditional attires and handbags made with our hands.
As the General Conference session continues, we are likely to see more fascinating displays. For the Adventist News Network, I'm Noel Spanda reporting from San Antonio in Texas.
The exhibition hall is about a 10-minute walk down the street from where the meetings are being held here in the Alamodome.
Now it's time for your daily social media report with Angela Taipei. Find out how you can see a glimpse of the exhibit hall just by seeing what they share on social media.
The General Conference session includes spiritual and business meetings, but one of the most interesting parts is actually the exhibit hall. Now, we'll take you around and show you more of these exhibits during the whole week, but if you follow the hashtag GCSA15, you'll get to see a few of the booths are actually tweeting about what they're bringing visitors. Here are some of the booths that we've enjoyed seeing on the hashtag in Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. The Adventist universities have been very well represented in the exhibit hall. Scroll through and you'll see pictures from Union College, Andrews University, Montemorelos, Loma Linda University, and many more. ADRA International also has people stopping by to learn how they can help people all around the world. Visitors are sharing their experience using the hashtag #ServeTheOne. Adventist World Radio is sharing a 360 experience with those who stop by their booth, and even sharing users' reactions to the experience using the hashtag AWR360. On Instagram, Holbrook Indian School is sharing daily highlights such as live pottery demonstrations and even drawings. The Middle East North Africa Union has been sharing pictures of visitors leaving their mark on a map in the Middle East and enjoying a little bit of fun together as well. The Columbia Union is also tweeting pictures of visitors enjoying their booth, and they have a photo booth where everybody can let a little loose. We'll tell you more soon, but check out the hashtag GCSA15 to see for yourself what's going on in the exhibit hall.
Tomorrow, as the United States celebrates the anniversary of its independence, we'll look at the religious liberty aspects of the country's 4th of July holiday.
You'll also see highlights from tomorrow's worship service, including the Sabbath sermon by Elder G.T. Ng.
We'll also provide a tribute to the outgoing World Church Treasurer, Robert Lemon.
Thanks for watching ANN. We'll be back tomorrow with more news from the 60th General Conference session in San Antonio, Texas.
In the meantime, you can see more stories, photos, and videos on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by using the hashtag GCSA15. Visit facebook.com/GCSession, Twitter at GCSession, and Instagram at Adventist Church.
Our good news for today comes from the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 23. The passage says, "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise."
That's our program for today, and remember you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until tomorrow, God bless.
Take care.